Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jordan Harris.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is a good day. We can do that again. Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, let me start by thanking our 48th governor, Josh Shapiro, for being here with us today and doing this. To my friend and former colleague, the Lieutenant Governor Austin Davis. To all of the legislators here that you'll hear from, thank you for standing and being here today. I do want to make mention to legislators who are in the room. I see Representatives Solomon, Chairman Veteran Affairs. I see Chairman Steve Kinsey, Chairwoman Morgan Cephas, Chair of the Black Caucus, Napoleon Nelson, Representative Regina Young, Representative Anthony Bellman, Representative Greg Scott. In the back, I saw the majority chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, Representative Tim Briggs. Thank you, sir, for all of your work. Also, Senator Sharif Street is here as well, and Representative Rick Kajewski. Did I get all my members? I got Kinsey. All right, I got everybody. You know, I did the house first. I got you. They vote for me. You see what I'm saying? Got to take care of my folks first. All right, I'll just say.
There you go.
Listen, I want to tell you a story about a really impressive couch in the East Wing. Representative Solomon followed me in that impressive office in the East Wing. It was this really impressive couch where this gentleman by the name of Greg Rowe, who was at the time with the District Attorneys Association, came and listened to a freshman legislator talk about this idea of sealing or expunging. At that time, I wanted to expunge criminal records. I thought back then, my first year in office, that a person should not be judged for the rest of their lives by their worst day. It was on that, it was a blue couch. It was real comfortable too. One time, Governor Wolf came in. I was on the couch asleep. He knocked on the door, just walked right in. I was really embarrassed. Anyway, never mind.
Knock before you go in, I guess.
Yeah, knock before you walk in.
You sleep on my couch.
It was a nice couch. Anyway, focus.
Okay.
The bottom line is this. You know, Greg said something to me. He said that while we might not be able to go as far as you wanted to today, but he said if we were dedicated to the issue, over time, we could get there. And that's exactly what we're here today to celebrate. Some years ago, we started down the pathway of criminal record sealing. There was a woman who works for Community Legal Services back in Philadelphia who wrote a white paper about what it would look like to automatically seal a person's criminal record. Sharon Dietrich was the brainchild for what it would look like to remove barriers to sealing a person's record and doing it automatically. Why? Because what we found out is that even after we did the first iteration of record sealing, lots of people weren't taking advantage of it. They didn't know about it. They thought they couldn't afford it. So why don't we just move that barrier right out the way, and why not do it automatically? So some years ago, we started on this course of automatic record sealing. Some folks may have thought we were crazy to partner, Democrat from Philadelphia with a Republican from out in Cumberland County, two people who on many political issues differ, but on this one, we agreed. And we started that journey on clean slate. We got it done one iteration that did misdemeanors, 2s and 3s that have a nonviolent nature. Second iteration came back and removed the barrier of court costs while keeping restoration of paying restitution in place. And now, today, we celebrate the implementation of the third iteration of Clean Slate, which now includes non-violent drug felonies to help restore our brothers and sisters back into society so that they can become gainfully employed and move on with their lives from their worst day to their better days. Now, let me tell you something. When we first started this journey, there was a Republican legislator from Cumberland County who told me she would never vote for felonies. I'm not going to look at her. But to my colleagues' credit, and this is the legislative process, guys. When you work at an issue together, when you trust the person that you're working with, and you build a relationship, and you really start to examine what this could mean for people, we all evolve, we come along, and we understand the benefit of what we're talking about. So I want to say publicly to my friend, Cheryl Deloja, thank you so much. We've been on this clean slate trail for a very long time, and now we got felonies done here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And not only that, Clean Slate has become a national model, where states across the country are following what we're doing. People are traveling to mycleanslatepa.com, hosted by Community Legal Services, to find out if they are eligible, to find out what they may need to do, to find out what they need for their second chance. So today we're just here to celebrate the first day of effectiveness for the third iteration, what we call Clean Slate 3.0. Let me conclude by saying this, Senator Bartolotta. People's lives have been changed by this legislation. And this is an example of what working together in a bipartisan manner can do for the Commonwealth. We are going to have political differences. It is the nature of what we do here. But there comes a chance and there comes an opportunity where we get to do something that's bigger than ourselves, something that's bigger than our region, something that's bigger than our political party. And when we can put partisanship aside for those things, we could really do things that will change the lives of everyday Pennsylvanians. So I'm truly honored to have all of you here today, and for our governor and our lieutenant governor to be here to celebrate Clean Slate 3.0 and what it means to so many Pennsylvanians. From a white paper idea to implementation. Already 43 plus million records have been sealed. Already. So with that being said, it's my pleasure to bring up my partner in reform, somebody who I've grown a true friendship with over the years, Representative Cheryl Deloja.
Thank you. Thank you, absolutely. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Well, it's really hard to follow him on a regular basis, just to put that out there, Mr. Entertainer. But the one big thing that we have as we work through this is, when we're here today to talk about an issue that really helps people in Pennsylvania. Obviously, we have our governor and our lieutenant governor. They are here to represent Pennsylvanians, and they're here to support this legislation because this helps Pennsylvanians. We are all here for that. We talked about the legislators that are in the room. This is an issue that is supported by Republicans and Democrats. This is not a political issue. It's a people issue. As we were talking about it, nearly 3 million Pennsylvanians have a criminal record of some sort. In 2018, Pennsylvania became the very first state to have clean slate legislation. And that is something, as Jordan mentioned, that has been emulated out there. Over 1.2 million Pennsylvanians have benefited from what is already in the operations, and 11 other states have been able to adopt that similar legislation. The ability for us to take a look at what goes into effect right now is why we're here today. So the ability with employment, education, and housing. Why do people recidivate? They don't have a good job. Why do people recidivate? They don't have a good place to live. Why do people recidivate? They need more education. Clean Slate has a direct impact on those three issues. The ability for us to say to people, there is something out there that can help you. Keep your nose clean. Stay on the right track. We can help you in the long run. That is what this is about. This is about being able to say to someone, there is a path you can take that you will get a fair second chance. Because the ability for us to talk about automatic sealing, I just wanted to point out the fact, as Jordan mentioned, nothing against any of the attorneys in the room, and I'm sure there's plenty, but automatic sealing takes the need to hire an attorney out of the process. The ability to, sorry lawyers, but
You used to be a lawyer.
I'm still one.
are you sure? Okay, all right. You got a different job now. We're just making sure. So the ability for us to recognize that people don't always have the money to hire an attorney to get their records clean, whether it's expungement, whether it's pardon, whatever the part of the process. So the ability for us to do that. What are some of the leading reasons for recidivism? Is that lack of employment. What does this have to do? We're going to hear from the chamber, absolutely. But $78 to $87 billion is lost in the United States GDP due to unemployment or underemployment because of individuals with criminal records. Those are huge numbers. And for Pennsylvania to take that step and to recognize the fact that Pennsylvania, as one of the largest states in our nation, has a great part of that. So the working with the workforce, individuals learn, they're proud when they have a job. We have the capability, and we have an example and I get to shout out a Cumberland County business. We have a business owner here from Cumberland County, Steve Conway. He's the owner of Pyramid Construction. He has benefited from this with good employees. Steve, thank you very much for your willingness to participate and support. We need good employers. The ability for us to have good employers, we need good employees. That's what Clean Slate does. As a bipartisan piece of work, this legislation had people from all over. You know, we joke about the two of us teaming up and our senators teaming up. The ability for us to recognize that the groups that could stand behind this piece of legislation, they are from all walks of life. They are from all political backgrounds. They are Republicans, Democrats, Independents. They recognize, again, this is not about politics, this is about people. And this is what's right for Pennsylvania as well as other states. But Pennsylvania got it right. Pennsylvania moved this legislation forward, and Pennsylvania recognized how important it is that we work together. And I want to recognize we have great senators that are here with us that did so much work over in the Senate for us. One is not able to be here. I wanted to give a shout out to our Judiciary Chair over in the Senate, Senator Lisa Baker. She worked so hard to make sure we were also working on probation reform, which is another one of our successes here in Pennsylvania. We were working with both of these pieces of legislation to work with both chambers. She worked yeoman's work over in the Senate trying to get that through and talk to a lot of individuals and make sure that we were able to get it across the finish line and get it to the all-important desk of the governor. But the ability for us to recognize how important this is and how important Clean Slate is and what that expansion does and offer second chances to individuals that so many times look at our judicial system and say, how can it help me? It's working against me. We as legislators, our job is to try and take away red tape, to try and make an easier path, to try and put things into place that help people. This piece of legislation, I'm really proud to, with Jordan, with our senators, to have teamed up and gotten it to the governor's desk. Governor, thank you for signing the bill. Appreciate that. There's always three parts to every bill, and we got to move all three of them. This is something that had overwhelming support, Republicans, Democrats, and our public. Our public knew this was the right thing to do, talked to their legislators, asked them for the support of the bill. So thank you for everybody being here. Look forward to the official signing and making it work. Thank you to everybody that took a chance on this bill and took a chance on us to make this happen. We had a lot of groups that made this work. Sharon obviously started the ball rolling, but we needed a lot of people to join in on the process. So with that, I'm going to hand over to somebody that had a little hand in that process over on the other side of the building, Senator Williams.
I don't have enough Senate members here, but I do know a lot of the representatives. So whatever applause you gave Jordan, I better get my fair share. Oh, stop. I'm so humble. Thank you. I'm shocked. I'll see you at the back door for the cash outside. No, I'm joking. Seriously, so my comment's a little bit different in the context of it, more personal. We know what the legislation will do because we've already seen what it has done. But there's a lot of conversation about bipartisanship today, which I agree with. But I also want people to understand something to another generation that's watching us work in a political environment that is very, very volatile and frankly, in my opinion, very discouraging to another generation. Do you want to participate or why should you even vote? Jordan Harris is more than a chairman of appropriation and say more than a state rep to me. He is one of my brothers in this process of politics in Philadelphia. When Jordan decided to run for state rep, he had many ideas, as many of us do. And he is of a certain generation that, frankly, he knows I get very frustrated with. Politics is not about pontificating, talking a lot, saying what we're going to do, complaining about what's not done. It is about doing the people's business. If you get elected, you are no longer just an activist. You're no longer outside the ropes. You're inside the halls of power. So your job is to get something done for the people. Jordan Harris, you should pose a clap on that.
Let's get stuff done.
I'm not going where no.
GST.
No, we're not going there. My kids are watching. That's the internet. That being said, Jordan had these ideas before he got elected. When he would sit down and talk about what he wants to do when he first got elected, some of these things I didn't want to necessarily discourage him because I knew Democrat, Republican, rural, urban don't necessarily coalesce, or did not necessarily coalesce. What's extraordinary about today is that not only do you have a young man who brought an idea to fruition to get it delivered in a generation of people who don't believe we get stuff done, it will certainly have an impact upon my generation who's sitting here and many generations behind that. But more importantly, hopefully it gives belief to those who are watching, those who may be online, those who may be participating of another generation, that you can get something done in this political process, that you can make a difference for your generation, that you can find relief and freedom in this process, and that Jordan Harris has delivered that in ways that we would not imagine. So let us give Jordan another round of applause.
Let the record reflect, no one stood for Jordan, but two people stood for you.
Yeah.
Oh, he's keeping score. He's keeping score.
Governor Shapiro.
Stay on message.
Governor Shapiro, I thank you for that. Appreciate that. But I also want to say something else. When I first got here, which was a long time ago, over 30 years ago, women were not necessarily reflected, even though they were elected, in equal consideration. This bill, while Jordan had a concept, he was a Democrat in a minority. And frankly, many people view this as an urban problem, frankly, an African-American problem. And the truth is, millions of Pennsylvanians, rural, suburban, white and black, Latino and Asian, suffer from this circumstance. Jordan found a woman, not just a Republican, a woman to partner with. We made mention of, Senator Baker, but Senator Bartolotta, when I brought this to her, who comes from a particular area that's not running around with Joe Biden flags in it, said it is a thought that we should consider. And not only worked with me, but actually got Senator Baker, who comes from one of those areas, again, that's not necessarily replete with Joe Biden flags and would be considered very conservative, who fought the fight with the DA's Association. For those who don't know, the DA's Association around this building has a lot of influence. And they will call you out and say, you're not going to fight crime, you're going to make our communities less safe, et cetera. They use all the slogans. These women and Senator Baker, because they're from those communities, took on the fight. So I'm proud to be standing here today with a coalition of representation from what Pennsylvania really looks like. So whatever anybody tells you, from either extreme side, we're here to get stuff done.
Yes.
And we're prepared to get stuff done. And by the way, those who don't, you need to get out the way. Because people are suffering in Pennsylvania. They don't suffer because they want perfection. They want substance. And we have a lot of other big stuff to do. This governor has a long agenda for things for us to get done. We have a budget to resolve that should not go into July. That was an embarrassment, Democrats and Republicans. Nobody's going to get 100% of anything. We have people in poverty and housing. We have jobs that need to be built. We have tax policy. We have a long agenda that can get rooted in perfection, but should not be robbed because we're doing good work. So I'm proud to be here today with my Pennsylvania colleagues and the extraordinary work that they're doing and the kind of things that they want to get done. And if you don't mind, Governor, can I bring Senator, it's not on this list.
Yeah,
If you
of
don't
course.
mind, I got to bring up my champion who helped me get Senator Baker on board, Senator Bartolot.
Thank you so much. It's really hard acts to follow here. And I'm not going to go on and repeat a lot of what has been said because it's really, it is worth repeating. And I feel like we've been living Groundhog Day for so many years now on all of these different pieces of legislation. But this is 3.0, Clean Slate 3.0. And, you know, I'm a fairly new grandma, and my little granddaughter's 9 months. Oh, go with the Oz. But, you know, she's just learning how to walk. You got to walk before you can run. But just like with this legislation, it is baby steps. But you know what? Once they get up, you can't catch them, can you? No, they are hard to catch. I expect this momentum that's been created by this legislation to be the fuse and the fuel for so many other pieces of criminal justice reform legislation that has to be done. We have got such a ball of twine that has been knotted since the 90s with the lock 'em up, throw away the key, and oh, you're not tough on crime. And no, we have destroyed lives by creating barriers to success and getting families back together, reuniting families and communities and getting people back on their feet and stop hitting them down all the time. You know, we give life sentences in Pennsylvania for misdemeanors and for mistakes when they were committed as juveniles or young adults. We have to undo the damage. We have to show people if you make a mistake and you do everything right and you pay your debt to society, you have a path forward. You don't have to pay for that for the rest of your life. This is a way to at least open the door to success, to going to school, to getting a better job, to providing for your family, to having a family, to getting your kids back, to providing for them, and to show them that things can be forgiven. You don't have to pay for a mistake for the rest of your life. And there's so many other pieces of legislation that this team and the others in this room have been working so hard on. And I want to see us run. I want to see us run with all of it. It's about time. We can change lives. We are changing lives. And God bless you for all your dedication and all the changes you've made in so many millions of people. We're just going to keep moving forward. And I am so excited that this has actually come to fruition, that people are finally seeing the light of, oh, you know, keeping people locked away and keeping people down doesn't make our streets safer, doesn't make our communities stronger, doesn't make for a better Pennsylvania. We could have a robust economy and provide for the people that need us to do that. That's our job. And I'm just thrilled that this is happening today, and I can't wait for what's in the future for us here in a little way, but for what's out there for all of Pennsylvania in a really big way. Thank you.
Thank you so much. My name is Jenna Butler. I'm the Executive Director of the Justice Action Network. And we've talked a little bit today about the beginning of Clean Slate, but I actually want to go back a few years before that. I'll be very brief, I promise. When the Justice Action Network was founded, some of our very first meetings were with these leaders in this room. And we instantly knew that something special was happening here in Harrisburg. No matter the debate and discord on other issues, these leaders were always willing to put aside their differences and work together on evidence-based, data-driven criminal justice policy. Policy that is proven to make the citizens of this Commonwealth safer every single day. Policies that are proven to restore families and communities and individuals and hope in this state. Policies that are proven to empower individuals to reach new heights of economic prosperity and give employers access to a robust workforce right here in Pennsylvania. And Clean Slate is going to jumpstart those goals of safety and hope and prosperity. And I thank you for your leadership to get us to that point. As the head of a national organization, it is now my pleasure and my honor to go across the country, state to state, and tell them to come here to Harrisburg and see what you all are doing. Not only Clean Slate, but also how we were doing it with unprecedented bipartisan cooperation. And I thank you.
Thank you, Jana. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Luke Bernstein with the Pennsylvania Chamber of Business and Industry. So often, as many of us stand here and think about Pennsylvania, you just heard Jana, how often are we the example of the state that did something right? How often are we the state that stood up and led? And I can tell you on this issue, we are not only the example, we are the state that has led the nation and continues to lead the nation. And you're going to see the results of this. I'm going to read through some statistics that I think are important that we talk about in terms of this legislation. Oftentimes people will say, why did the Pennsylvania Chamber of Business and Industry get involved in this issue? It doesn't seem like a natural business issue. And let me tell you, it is. Pennsylvania currently has 74 available skilled workers for every 100 available jobs. We have a gap. In Pennsylvania, we have to look for every person who's willing to contribute, who wants to be part of our workforce, and we have to work with them to get the skills and the education necessary so they can fulfill their lives and their dreams right here in the Commonwealth. Each year, the underemployment of formerly incarcerated individuals costs the United States as much as $87 billion in GDP. Employers across our state and business community more broadly care about removing barriers to employment, not putting more barriers up. The PA Chamber proudly worked in 2018 with a bipartisan group of lawmakers that are here in a divided government to work hard. As we sit here and you think about the climate, Senator Williams talked about this, needing 26 in the Senate, 102 in the House to get to that desk, to see the signature that we're going to see today. This law, since its enactment, has helped more than 1.2 million Pennsylvanians, encouraging them to re-enter the workforce. Expanding record clearance encourages more formerly incarcerated individuals to apply for and accept jobs and promotions, offers a largely untapped pool of skilled workers for Pennsylvania employers, and this is not only good economically, this is good for our communities. And let's be honest, everybody makes a mistake. Everybody does. But should they have to, after they're held accountable, should they have to keep reliving that mistake over and over and over again? Should they have to relive it every time a new job opens up and fear that that's going to come out and they have to relive it? Every time a promotion is posted and they know they're qualified for it, but they don't want to go for it? Should they have to relive it every time they seek maybe a new career, but they just don't want to leave the current situation because they're embarrassed of something that might come up or something they did? No, they should not. And what this bill does is it empowers people to seek that opportunity. It allows employers to look at them on the basis of their skills and to move forward. And for that, we are pleased to partner with everyone in this effort and excited to see the continued results and the continued progress from 3.0. Thank you very much.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, to the senators and Representative Harris, Senator Williams, Senator Bartolotta, Governor Shapiro. It's wonderful to be here to celebrate this milestone with you. Most Pennsylvanians believe in the power of second chances. The governor and I believe Pennsylvania should be and must be a place for second chances. As lieutenant governor over the past year and a half, I've heard from many Pennsylvanians who've worked hard to turn their lives around and to make amends. They are contributing positively to their communities, and often they're pursuing a pardon because they want to contribute even more. But that criminal record, a permanent reminder of what is often the worst day in their lives, is a burden holding them back from moving onward and upward. Let's be clear, not every applicant earns a pardon. Each case is reviewed at the staff level and meritorious applications are considered and voted on by the board, with the governor then holding the final authority to grant or deny a pardon. A pardon demonstrates that someone has done the work and truly earned their second chance. However, state law previously did not provide for automatic expungements when someone received a pardon. They still had to take the additional steps to clear their criminal record, even though they had earned a pardon that was signed by the governor. That's fundamentally wrong. And that's why I introduced legislation to address this injustice when I was a state representative. And as lieutenant governor, I continue to champion this cause, working with Chairman Harris as well as Senator Baker, the Senate Judiciary Chairwoman. We were able to incorporate automatic expungement language into the final version of this bill. The governor signed House Bill 689 into law, and today this legislation goes into effect. This is a big win, not just for the folks who earn a pardon, but also for their families and our communities. And it's a bipartisan win. I want to thank Senator Baker for her collaboration and her efforts. I also want to thank my good friend, Chairman Harris, for getting this important piece of legislation across the finish line. We can do big things here in Pennsylvania. And I know the naysayers and the cynics might not want to admit it sometimes, but we can do big things here in this building. We can do it when we take off our red jerseys and our blue jerseys and put on the Pennsylvania jersey. I have high hopes that we can do big things with this year's budget, and I know working together, coming together, we're going to get it done. It's my pleasure to introduce the governor of the Commonwealth, Josh Shapiro.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Good afternoon, and let me begin by thanking our Lieutenant Governor, not just for being here today and his extraordinary leadership in our administration, and particularly on the Board of Pardons, a place that focuses every day on second chances for our fellow Pennsylvanians. But I want to thank him for years ago introducing this bill or version of this bill, which is now law in Pennsylvania. His strong leadership those years ago paved the way for the incredible leadership that you've seen here on display and allowed us to have this bill reach this desk. And so, Mr. Lieutenant Governor, I want to thank you for your leadership. I want to say, as I do all the time, that Pennsylvania is a place where everyone should have the freedom to chart their own course, the opportunity to succeed. We create opportunity together in this Commonwealth when we work together to make sure, no matter your zip code, you got a great quality school in your community. That no matter the community you live in, you can walk down the street and know you're going to get from point A to point B in safety. That no matter the neighborhood you live in, rural, urban, suburban, you got an opportunity for a job. You got an opportunity for economic empowerment, no matter the corner of this Commonwealth that you live in. That's how you create opportunity. Good quality education, safe communities, and economic progress, and a process that allows a chance for everyone, no matter what they look like, where they come from, who they love, or who they pray to get ahead right here in Pennsylvania. That is the cause of our work. That is the work that we do every day here in this Commonwealth. And for those who maybe we failed in that process, their school wasn't quite what it needed to be for them. Their streets weren't that safe. There wasn't economic opportunity in their neighborhood. For those who then have one bad day, we still have a responsibility to them to make sure, as Chairman Harris said, that their future isn't defined by that one bad day, but where we believe in second chances. Pennsylvania has been a leader on second chances. And now with the third iteration of the Clean Slate bill, we continue to be a leader, not just as Jenna said, and I'm grateful she said this for the rest of the nation, but showing people right here at home what we value. We value our people, no matter where they come from, and no matter what that one bad day may have looked like. As it's been referenced many times, it's really hard to get a bill to that desk. It's really hard to find 102, 26, and 1 in order to make progress. It's hard to find a compassionate chairman like Lisa Baker or Tim Briggs who actually want to prioritize legislation moving forward. And it sure as hell is hard to find a coalition like this who's willing to work together. People from different walks of life, people who have had different lived experiences. We get people who are focused on a common goal, in this case, making sure to show that we believe in second chances and we believe in opportunity for all Pennsylvanians. Listen, when we move the ball down the field, we should celebrate that. We should honor that hard work. And we should recognize that that hard work doesn't come just because somebody wrote a bunch of words on a piece of paper. It happens because folks took the time to get to know one another on that famous couch you're talking about. And to have tough, honest conversations. And to see to it that they set aside their political differences to get stuff done. Listen, in this business, compromise is the way you make progress. And we have seen a level of compromise, not just in the words of a bill, but in the way these individuals learn to talk to one another and trust one another and listen to different voices coming from across this Commonwealth. I'm very grateful to Senator Williams and Senator Bartolotta for their willingness to work together and make this progress. I'm very, very grateful to Representative Delosier for her willingness to commit herself to an issue that probably at first superficially wasn't something you were hearing about at town hall meetings in Cumberland County every single day. And I'm exceedingly grateful to Chairman Jordan Harris for seeing this through, for bringing a real servant's heart to this conversation, and for his willingness to do this hard work and not just find the words to put on a bill that would make progress, but to find the partnerships to make progress in this building. That's not easy. And today is a day to celebrate that as we open up this process formally today for these records to be sealed and records to be expunged. It starts today in Pennsylvania because these individuals were willing to come together and work together and build the coalition necessary to make sure that here in Pennsylvania, that we could bring about real freedom for all Pennsylvanians. Here in Pennsylvania, that we would create opportunity. So it's my honor to stand with all of you. This is a blueprint for progress in Pennsylvania, and we're going to continue to make progress, and we're going to continue to get stuff done. And so with that, I'm going to sign these bills, and then we'll return to take some questions. Thank you.
And just appreciate the kind words, but I don't want us to leave this podium without acknowledging that we have members of the General Assembly who supported us in Stafford. They're not up here speaking, but we're speaking in the place of them, so I'd like to.
Absolutely. Well, I was going to invite them all up to join us as we sign this. Come on. Come on,
Tim.
man.
Gotta get our chairman, Tim Burns, up there. There you go. There you go.
Senator.
Good?
Hey.
We'll talk later, okay? Rep. Senator, can I ask you a question?
That's always a good day.
We're going to take a couple questions from the media here. For anybody up here, Rep. Delosier will answer the hard ones.
Wait. I think I
Jan,
got somewhere to go.
You got anything?
All this discussion about bipartisanship.
Yeah.
So today the Senate is expected to take up the whole higher education legislative package. And it's different than what you have proposed, but there are some sort of similarities.
Yeah.
I was wondering if you see a path forward to meld your ideas with their.
Yeah. I'm really encouraged by what the Senate has done in advancing legislation to address the higher ed challenges in Pennsylvania. I spoke about this in my budget address and many times before that. I think what you're seeing in the Senate is a willingness to address, as I've been trying to address, the fact that we're 49th in the nation when it comes to higher ed, and no one should think that that is acceptable. We put forth a blueprint. We listen to the people across Pennsylvania. We listen to Republicans and Democrats in the House and Senate. They've now put some ideas forward, and there's some good stuff in there. And now we're going to work together, as we did on this legislation and others, to find common ground. But the fact remains is that people in both chambers, in both parties, acknowledge the fact that we've got to do something meaningful on higher ed. And so I appreciate the Senate's movement on that. We're going to continue to work together to make progress on higher ed.
Governor, have you seen the internal investigation by state police into the arrest of Philadelphia's top LGBTQ official, Selena Morrison? And do you have any comment on the state troopers firing?
Yeah, I'm going to defer to Colonel Paris and the state police for any comments on personnel matters at PSP.
But have you seen the report into the internal investigation?
I'm going to defer to PSP for any further comment on that. Anything else? Thank you, everybody. Okay.